Hello, what's good? So today I'm going to be talking about whether or not should you or shouldn't you visit Quito, Ecuador. So for those that don't know, Quito is of course the capital city of Ecuador. It's a place that I recently spent 6 weeks living in. So I gained a fair sense of what to sort of like expect and know about the overall just energy vibe, whether it's a place that you should consider to visit, or even if it's a place to live temporarily or for a longer period of time. Whether if you're an expert, digital nomad, remote worker, or just there for a trip, just the overall sort of impressions that I've gained from my sort of experience in the city. So, first of all, which is the big question for any place that you go to, is how expensive is Quito, Ecuador? Well, the answer to that question is it's pretty affordable. Um, is it the most affordable place that you would ever go to visit? Probably not the top, but it's definitely a very affordable, great place if you really want to stretch your money even further. Of course. So the currency of Ecuador is USD, so you're going to be spending in dollars. But of course, when people say that, they think that obviously, because it's in dollars, that automatically is going to be quite expensive. But the reality is that it's very affordable, very cheap. If you're a Westerner coming from a Western country, Europe, United States, Australia, wherever it be, you're going to find that general amenities and costs for daily living are going to be pretty affordable. For example, transport. If you're taking public transport, which isn't something that probably most people will think to take or use, that can cost like 40 cents. Um, Meals, if you want to go out to eat lunch, like a menu of the day, a combined meal. So for a lunch, you get like a soup, main, like salad, meats, very healthy soups, like dessert, popcorn, natural juice, cakes, for just 4 USD. I mean, pretty affordable. And if I compare it to similar prices to other countries, I mean, it's not as affordable and inexpensive like Colombia. Colombia is definitely slightly cheaper, but it's almost the same more or less. I mean, I'd probably say add like 10-15% to the costs of what you'd find in Colombia. But of course, this is all relative and depends completely on your lifestyle, the neighborhood you stay in, which parts of the country you're staying in, etc. Of course, Ecuador is not. Um, it's interesting because Ecuador isn't a place that, or Quito particularly, isn't a city that many people sort of talk about and rave about being like the place to go. Oh, you must go to Ecuador. You got to go to Quito. You have to visit Quito. It's quite a low key place, which I think is well. It depends on what you're looking for, really. I mean, if you're looking for sort of like a low key, chill, like typical Latin American capital city that has all of the amenities that you'd be looking for, then yeah, sure. This is probably a really good option and one that you should consider. And is it going to be a place where you have a great sort of expat community? Although it is interesting how, from my time and my experience, I did see a lot of actually international students more than anything. A lot of Americans, Europeans coming in to study Spanish and so forth. So yeah, very interesting. And that kind of caught my attention and got me intrigued as to actually want to visit the city as well. Um, being a neighboring country too, of course. One of my favorite countries, Colombia, of course. Being the neighboring country, being within easy reach. It's I think if you're ever considering an option whereby you're looking for a country that's basically almost the same. Well, historically, it's the same. I mean, Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela used to be one country under Grand Colombia, of course. So, Ecuador in today's world definitely represents and reflects on the similarities for sure amongst the people, the landscapes, the culture is very similar. How they celebrate festivities and holidays and so forth, whether it be Christmas, New Year's, it's very similar with their traditions and cultural practices, we could say. And yeah, if I was to say, which city uh, reminds me the most of Quito, I'd say it's probably Bogota. I mean, there are a lot of similarities between Quito and Bogota. Think of Quito as like a mini, small version of Bogota with, less activity, less things going on. It's like a more relaxed, wouldn't say boring, but not as active or exciting city as Bogota is, which is a huge mega city, as classified by people. So it's very similar to Bogota in regards to climate. Very similar to, you'll find highs during the day, peak temperatures of around 19, 20 degrees, but at night it'll be around lows of like 10 degrees. So it's very comfortable, slightly cold at night, slightly chilly. You will find it will be slightly cold at nights if you're going out and stuff. But to be honest with you, it's not really a huge problem, really. I mean, I've been out a couple of times at night, and honestly, I didn't really feel any sense of me freezing or anything like that. It's just trousers, jacket, and you're good. Pretty much nothing really too much more or less. So for me, this is very comfortable, pleasant climate actually. And when I think about the distinction between living in a place and visiting a place, these are the things that I look for personally. And these are definitely things that check boxes for what I'm looking for in regards to actual locations or basis for, actually staying and living in a place as opposed to just, city hopping for a couple of days or passing by a couple of days just by these cities, not actually having a true feel or gain as to what the city is actually like to live there, actually spend periods of time living there and gaining a sense of what it's actually like to live in a place and stay there long term. So yeah, the climate, what many people told me beforehand that it's cold. Of course, this is subjective, and you speak to Latinos and tell you that Quito is cold. Of course, they've never really lived in Europe or parts of Northern America. So for a European like myself, it's definitely a good option for living in regards to climate as well. And I think just overall amenities is a very convenient place as well. Pretty much have all of the amenities and things that you'd look for and need back in your home country, like any major city would, capital city in this fact. I mean, the shopping malls are very, very clean, very modern. They have all of the fancy designer stores, which are even more expensive, of course, as everyone knows, in these other developing countries and back home. But you have access to all of those material and designer goods that you'd be looking for, um, within your reach. So, I mean, it's a very good option in that regards. So, definitely a good place to have all of the amenities for living and being comfortable. And in regards to the city park, I mean, it definitely has that resemblance of some of the other major cities in different countries. It's kind of like the Central Park of New York. It definitely has that resemblance, or like Ibirapuera in Sao Paulo, or other countries. So very nice residential, very pleasant and very peaceful park. So you have those open green spaces that you'd be looking for in other countries, to be honest, which is great. So once again, definitely some good places to be, to relax, to be just chill out, really, which is something that me personally, I feel like I definitely need and want. I'm not really looking for the crazy party scene where you can't really escape anything other than like just crazy nightlife and partying that you get in other more touristic and active cities. So yeah, very relaxing, very quiet, and very peaceful too. So I'd say it's a really good option in that regards as well. So if you're looking for a more relaxed, calm and quiet scenery, but being in a, having that sort of like bigger city feel, but almost being like a mini city of other places in comparison to what you'd be thinking of, then it's definitely a good option as well. So yeah, no, really nice, and yeah, I'd say one of the top things as well is just the people. To be honest with you, people are very friendly, very respectful, very friendly people. Um, but then again, it's what I kind of expect. Like very typical Latino people in this regard. But at the same time, it's not the same as comparing like the energy and vibrancy that you'd find of like amongst Colombians. Definitely nowhere near as extroverted or outgoing as them, which is something that makes me really appreciate and admire admire a lot about the people. So yeah, it's just overall nothing bad to say or anything. Just a different vibe, to be honest with you. It's a lot more quiet, relaxed, sort of not mundane, but just not as much going on, to be honest with you, in that regard. Um, and yeah, I think also as well, in regards to the altitude as well. I mean, Quito is one of the highest capital cities in the world. I believe it's the second tallest capital city in the world, behind La Paz or someone like that. So you definitely feel that altitude effect, definitely, especially as well, given that where I was staying, it was up in the hill, so you had to like ascend and descend. So you could really feel yourself, breathing deeply and breathing a lot heavier than you normally would. So this is definitely a challenge. But then again, this leads to one of the beauties and real privileges of being in this part of the world, which is the transport, of course. And this goes to the consumer convenience once again, which is great here. So Rappi and Uber both work normally and effectively, just as they would in other Latin American countries. So you really don't have to walk around that much as well, because what people don't understand is that just like here as well, you can get your groceries delivered to your front door. You can get Uber to take you anywhere you want. But just to know that Uber actually doesn't have the option for Moto as well, which is quite interesting. Apparently, only women are allowed to use Uber Moto option and not men, which is rather interesting for sure. But yeah, Uber works and Uber is very affordable, very cheap. I mean, you really can't complain when an Uber rides cost a couple of dollars to get to other parts of the city. So it's just a real blessing. And honestly, it doesn't really matter too much you being a bit away from a crowded and busy place. So you can have the best of both worlds. You can have that tranquility, relaxation of being in a calm, relaxed residential neighborhood like myself, had all the local amenities and access to local goods, while simultaneously having that option of convenience, of delivering groceries to my front door without leaving the house, getting the Uber to go anywhere I need to. So yeah, it's just really good in that regard. Um, the fitness scene as well was on point. Had some good gym options as well, which is really good. Uh, Very nice as well. Something that you always need. There's no excuses for not going to the gym. Any city in the world you can get a gym. Just have that motivation, routine. Live normally, and yeah, it should be fine, to be honest. So really good in this regard as well. Now, I would say one of the highlights of being situated in a city like Quito, without doubt, has to be the incredible landscapes and just overall panoramic views you have of the mountains. All of the all of the city buildings are just landscapes are just absolutely stunning. Something once again that resembles a lot like Bogota, with the mountain plains to the one side of the city as well. But what's the cool thing about here is that they have amazing like hiking opportunities. You can go up the Teleferico. You could see you could go hiking, walking around Pichincha up in the mountains. Most insane, spectacular mountain views you could have in the city, anywhere, to be honest with you. So really amazing. Just really makes you appreciate nature and kind of sort of how could I say um, really sort of emphasizes just the natural richness and breathtaking landscapes that South America and has in general, and obviously the Andes, what it can offer for visitors. So yeah, just unbelievable views, insane to be honest with you, unforgettable, and just amazing sort of like open green spaces. You can go and enjoy the parks, the Metropolitan Park. You get to see the alpacas and llamas and just be within the forests. It just makes you really appreciate nature and make you grateful for just how beautiful some places are in this world. To be honest with you, so yeah, amazing opportunities for that. Weekend activities. Day trips. Definitely has some good options for sure. Um, which is something I really appreciate and value more than other things, to be honest with you. So overall, I can only say nothing but good things about Quito. I think it completely depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a place to party and for a quick vacation trip, going crazy and having all of the benefits of what that life and lifestyle offers you, then this is definitely not the place. Even if you go to La Mariscal and the main red light district, it's nothing in comparison to what it's like in going to some other countries, in South America and Latin America. So for sure, it's definitely a very good option for hiking and outdoor natural activities for sure. If you love hiking the mountains, no better place. And yeah. Um, Hope this video was pleasant, enjoyable for you. Blessings to anyone watching this, and yeah, I hope that if you ever go and visit the city, I hope it serves you well, and nothing but more travel, more adventures, more journeys in the following year to come.